And welcome back to Food for Thought. Coming up, we are going to talk about, well, I have to share, of course, my weekly catering nightmare story. And I've decided to share the bat mitzvah where there were no plates. So the way this works is when you're off-premise catering, I was the chef on the job. There was someone else who was the coordinator. So the coordinator was supposed to arrive either the day before or the day of and check in the rentals to make sure that everything's there. You always have, no matter how good your rental company is, you always have to do that.
Right.
Because things can happen if you don't. So our coordinator left. I think she was stressed because she had another job to go to. And so we're moving right along, and we serve the first course with the salad plates, and then we're getting ready for the main course. And we realize there's no plates.
No plates.
No plates. Okay? So, like 130 people. And it was starting to become so stressful because, of course, everywhere we called, all the emergency numbers didn't work, as usual.
Right.
None of the backup plans, couldn't find my boss anywhere. It was just a nightmare. So I remember being so stressed and really wishing, one of the many times I wished that I had Xanax on the job because it was just so, unbelievably stressful. And I'll never forget the mother of the what is it? It was a bat mitzvah is girl, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
I forget whether it was a bat or bar, actually, but she was starting to get a little annoyed, wondering where the main course was.
Right.
And she came up to me and she said, so, Deirdre, when is it going to be? When are you going to serve the main course? And I just looked at her and I said, you know what? It could be very soon, or it could be a lot longer than that. I can't tell you. So in the meantime, we had this guy working the job who apparently was a purveyor of our produce for the company, and he was just to make extra money. He was a server on this job. And he chimes in, oh, I've got clients all over. I'm going to call the Marriott. So this guy who I'd never met before calls the Marriott, and he's like, I'll be right back. And he left, and I remember going, go, Paul, just thinking how much I was invested in this kid who I'd never met. And he comes back in a half an hour. So it was, which is an eternity when you're late
when
serving.
You're hungry.
And he had all these plates, and they were still hot from the dishwasher. And I'll never forget, I wanted to hug him, kiss him,
right,
make out with him, whatever. I mean, I was so sorry, but that's how happy I was. Anyway, it all worked out. It always does, some way or another. I'm going to talk about the recipe for today, which this was one that I've had in my repertoire for many, many years, and I lost it. So I started to look it up online. It's a recipe for something called piri piri, which is an old sort of condiment sauce, Portuguese sauce. And I was telling Francie over the break, it's basically made, and a lot of the recipes I saw this morning, I was horrified to see that there was no whiskey in them. Every recipe that I've ever used is half whiskey, half olive oil, and let's say about a quart. Okay, so half quart of each, and maybe 3/4 of a cup to a cup of hot peppers, dried hot peppers, chili peppers. And so what you do is you slice your peppers in half, or mash them up a little bit, and then you put them in. I remember letting this ferment for a month. A lot of the recipes said, you have piri piri in 2 days. I remember doing it for a month. And a lot of the, most people discouraged putting in garlic during the fermentation process, that it would go bad. But I think, Francie, didn't you and I both agreed that that's not necessary,
No,
right?
I don't think the whiskey and
The
hot
whiskey
peppers.
and the hot peppers and the oil, that's going to protect that garlic, I think, for a significant amount of time.
Yeah.
So I was inspired to make, for our next network now, our network Lambertville meeting is, when is it, Rob?
October 3rd, Thursday, October 3rd, 6 to 8:30. Wine courtesy of Grape Finale, which is an amazing wine school in Flemington where you can make your own wine.
Yep.
And Deirdre will be, from Delish Catering, will be preparing what?
Cassoulet.
It's one of my faves. Absolute favorites. Are you allowed to taste that? It's kind of high carb, isn't it?
Yeah, but it doesn't have gluten, I don't think. Does it, France?
No, not that.
Beans,
Does it have
tomato.
potatoes
I don't
in it?
think it
Oh,
has
beans.
flour. I don't think it has any flour.
Fava beans.
Anyway, our version of cassoulet is going to be made with lamb and chicken. Basically, that's not maybe all that traditional. It's usually pork, duck fat,
I
chicken.
think it's usually duck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a million
Duck
recipes
fat,
for
There are.
cassoulet, so but I think it's the method of cooking and the
And some kinda,
beans and
sausage.
and some kind of sausage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Right.
definitely do sausage, and it's made with beans and tomatoes and the different meats, and then traditionally made with breadcrumb on top and then broiled. So it's
Mhm.
got this really cool kind of last minute crust. But I think next month's Network Lambertville, I'm going to make Portuguese pork and clams using the
Mm.
piri piri
That
sauce.
sounds really good.
Can you make it like just sooner, just so I could taste it? You know, like
Yeah,
at
actually, I
home?
should. I
That'd be
should
awesome.
because I haven't made
Little
it.
test run.
And pork and clams is not something you put on the catering menu because nobody orders it.
Right.
It's just too.
Why?
It's too ethnic, scary.
Sounds good to me.
Most people will be like, pork and clams?
Ew.
You know? Yeah.
Who on earth would eat that? No, I mean, foodie friends like Francie and her husband Peter would love something like that. But on a catering menu, that's one of the things I find frustrating about catering menus is that you are dealing with the masses.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as you try to put on interesting things, they all choose chicken marsala.
Right.
Pretty much
Well,
all of them.
don't you get a lot of requests for fried chicken, which is kind of
I got
hilarious?
one. Yeah, last time I got someone asking for fried chicken and cheesesteaks, and I kind of thought,
Hmm.
well, there's KFC and the pizza place down the street.
Right. Do they want
We'll
like
charge you a lot
gourmet-
less.
Gourmet cheesesteaks or
No, just
cheesesteaks?
cheesesteaks. Yeah.
Velveeta cheesesteaks?
And is that the traditional? Because
I think so.
yeah,
I
that's
think in Philadelphia that is with Whit Whiz.
yeah,
That's the cheese.
yeah. I was
Cheese whiz.
catering, not catering. Actually, I worked for the woman who takes my Zumba class. Hired me just to do the service, and she didn't know that I had a catering business, and she had already hired another caterer, but just delivered food. So she wanted someone to be there. Turns out the caterer was Jamie Hollander. Are you
Mhm.
familiar with Jamie Hollander?
Yeah, he used to have a restaurant in Doylestown. Pete and I were there all the time.
Oh, okay.
We
Good
became
food there.
Good friends with him,
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a place, a sort of a shop in
Right outside
New
New
Hope.
Hope, right?
And so
Yep.
I was excited because I wanted to experience Jamie Hollander's food because he has a big name,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard he charges a lot, and everybody loves him. So I was somewhat impressed with the food. But one of the things, and I'm sure he does this just because, but the person had ordered mini cheesesteak sliders
Mm-hmm.
and chicken cheesesteak sliders. And so what I think Hollander did was he probably had these little mini rolls that were like pre-bakes. So they were like half baked and they're frozen.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put the filling in the little roll, and then when you broil that hors d'oeuvre, you're basically finishing cooking the roll and you're heating up the meat. But it was Velveeta,
Was it?
and I'm surprised that he just didn't put his foot down,
Mm-hmm.
and just say, okay, I'll do it, but I'll do it in the nice little cheddar blend or
Right. Some kind
know.
of maybe with a pepper, like spicy pepper or
something
different.
so that the idea would be slider. But maybe he might be from Philly, and maybe he just felt
Keeping it real.
keeping it real. I guess.
One thing good about that place, though, for New Hopians and Lambertonians, is it's like the only place around where you can get good cheese and good bread.
Can you get good bread there?
Yeah, they import it from Philadelphia.
Okay.
So,
So-
earlier in the day, the better selection you have, but they do because they run out. But you can get good bread there,
Good bread and good cheese.
and they have a nice selection of cheese.
nice selection of cheese, and you
Yeah.
can try everything, just like Murray's in Manhattan. They let you try everything.
Yep,
They
do that.
have I can't remember all the names now. Shropshire Blue and Humboldt Fog.
Humboldt
and
Fog. That's the one I was thinking of.
Really good Gorgonzola.
Yeah.
This place is for anybody that's interested. Is right if you're heading 202 toward New Hope, and just before you get to that section where it turns severely to the left to continue on 202, there's like a little shopping center where Cornerstone Fitness is on the left, and
Yes.
Jamie Hollander's shop is right in there.
That's right.
So
true.
what else? Francie, do you have, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, so if you can think of it,
Okay.
do you have because I know there's a lot of cooking that goes on in your family. And do you have any like family secrets, like little cooking tips?
Yeah, I think my grandmother was, I was growing up, and my grandmother had her sauce, and she made meatballs, and she had the best meatballs ever. And I tried to replicate them for years. And she would never tell me the recipe because she wanted me to come back to her house to have them.
Right,
But then she got, elderly, and she said that the secret is to grate your onion and add 2 tablespoons of milk to the bread when you're making, if you're adding like fresh bread.
For the breadcrumbs.
You should always add fresh bread and douse it with milk.
Okay.
And then grate your onion, and it always gives the moistest meatballs.
I love tips like that. And there's certain things that you will never, ever learn in culinary school. You learn from somebody's grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
That was a good one.
Thank
What's
you.
this note?
Should write that one down.
The piri piri? I already gave the recipe for that.
You did? Oh, I must have been asleep at the time.
Yeah, you were not listening,
I'm
Robert.
sorry about that.
And anyway, for those that are interested, I will post the recipe for piri piri and also pork and clams on the Delish website, Facebook page, as well as the Food for Thought Facebook page. And we have one more break, and then we're coming back with Francie Cook to talk about what she does.